Thanks for checking out my Shoot for the Moon Backlink Challenge video series. If you're looking to increase the revenue your website produces for your business by increasing the quality and quantity of the traffic hitting your website, and you're not afraid of a little hard work, you're going to love this challenge. Hi, I'm Matt LeClaire. I'm in charge of link building and content creation for your ad squad. We're a small SEO agency based in Mason, Michigan. If your website isn't generating the income for your business that you want it to, there's two likely culprits. Either your content isn't good enough or your link prospecting isn't good enough. That's it. Two culprits. I'm going to teach you how to overcome both those hurdles in this challenge. All right, before we get into how to pull that off, I want to just go over just for a little bit about what doesn't work in SEO anymore. And maybe you're in the middle of a campaign right now that isn't going the greatest for you. Maybe you're having a hard time getting certain keywords to rank, or you're ranking some keywords and you're having a difficult time getting organic traffic to your website. Maybe you're getting traffic, but you're having a hard time getting conversions. And that's all part of SEO. It's like one giant Rubik's Cube that just never ends. You constantly get to play with it. But if you're failing at SEO, like I said, it's either your content or your link outreach, and it's probably a little of both. But I should have give you a third reason why your SEO campaign isn't going well if it isn't. And that's you're using the wrong tactics. It's not that you want to use the wrong tactics. Maybe you've even did a lot of research on it and took courses on what you needed to do, but you were given old information. There's so much repurposed information going across the internet on the SEO that it's hard to study it. Really, the only way to learn SEO is to do it and to not give up on it. That's what I did, and you could do the same. But I can give you some tips, and I can tell you what doesn't work. If your campaign's not working, it's not because Google doesn't like your business or the people that's hitting your website doesn't like your business. You're just getting the wrong traffic, or you might have the wrong offer. But there's 5 tactics I want to talk about. The reason why your SEO campaigns may not be doing so hot, bad tactics that don't work. And one of those main tactics that don't work, you might be participating in just a little bit, is buying links. Now, buying links is never going to work for you long term. This is coming from somebody who has probably paid $50,000 to $100,000 in links over the last several years. I loved buying links because it was scalable and it was great. But that was before 2012, and I'll get into what happened in 2012 and what happened when 1,000 of our clients lost their page 1 rankings on Google because of an algorithm change. And it was because we were creating bad links. We were creating black hat links. Now, like I said, I'll get in that in a little bit. But buying links will never help your business for a couple of reasons now. Number one, Google knows what sites are legit in your industry and which aren't. Anybody that's willing to place a link on their website because you paid them money is a link that you don't want to have. Buying links is the worst thing you can do, mainly because it's the lazy way out. And it's really not even the lazy way. It's the harder way when you buy links, because then you're going to get a penalty sooner or later. And then you have to work to get rid of that penalty. Then you have to disavow those links. Then you go about building the links you should have built the first time. And when I say build links, I use that word very loosely, as you'll find out in a minute. I don't think you should ever build links. There's lots of things you should build in SEO. You should build great content, superb content. You should build content 10 times better than what anybody else in your industry is putting out on any specific topic that you decide to write on. And I'll teach you how to do that in this challenge. And you should also build relationships with the biggest influencers in your industry. That's going to pay huge dividends for your business if you build those. But what you shouldn't be doing is building links. Those should be earned. You build content, you build relationships, you don't build links, you earn links. And if you buy links, you're getting links without earning them. And that means you're not going to put your all into the content that you're placing on your site to earn those links. You're just going to pay somebody money, and the content you put on your site will be subpar because you won't need to have it be anything different to get that link. All you have to do is pay for it. So when you buy links, you put a lot less effort in on your content. And if you've been in SEO long enough, you know that to be true. Now, building links, a lot of people disagree with me on this, and you might too. Why you should always be building links. And I mean any link that you build yourself and that you have control over. Those are the links you want to avoid, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the process of link prospecting and creating great content and then networking and then building links that way. That's really earning links. That's not what I'm talking about. In fact, the system is all based on that. And what I teach you how to do and what I'm doing for my clients, I'm going to be able to show you throughout this challenge. Another thing that doesn't work anymore is content that's just good enough. If your content isn't earning links from the top pros in your industry, you got some work ahead of you. It's going to be work that will pay huge dividends for your business. You'll hear me say that a lot. It'll be work that'll pay off. It'll be work that'll pay huge dividends. Hard work almost always pays off as long as you're working on the right thing. And hard work you put on creating superb content is going to pay off. If your content isn't earning links from the top pros in your industry, like I said, you got a lot of work ahead of you, and competition on the web is fiercer than it's ever been. When I first got into this game, it was before 2000, and competition was pretty bad then, but now it's really fierce. And if your content doesn't wow the top influencers in your industry and make them want to link to you, you're wasting your time on any content that doesn't do that. And that's something that we'll get into, and I'll teach you how to do regardless of skill level in creating content. You'll be able to easily create content that's 10 times better than anything the top link prospects in your industry are currently linking to. You're just going to be selective about what you create. You can't create the encyclopedia, but what you can do is really drill down on a topic deeper than anybody's ever done just by answering a few questions and figuring some things out and brainstorming. And like I said, I'll teach you how to do that. You know what else doesn't work, and this is something I've tried for a long time, is to create really good content, maybe not superb content, but really good content, and sharing that content on social media sites that I control, like Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And maybe you do that too. You create great content, and then you share it on social media in the hopes that an influencer in your industry is going to see it and then link to your site. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. Your site metrics will prove that on analytics. You know what else doesn't work is begging for links via email or a website's contact form. No one's going to link to your site unless they first have a good reason for doing it. And that reason has to be something that benefits them. Now, if you fail to create content that doesn't benefit them and then you ask them to link to it, you're begging. Stop it. It's only hurting your business. It's not ever going to help it. It's tarnishing your name if you're doing that. You know, another thing that I see in people begging for links is maybe they have great content. Maybe they're going after the right link prospects. But when they reach out to that link prospect to let them know about their content, they do so in a way doesn't relay what the benefits are to the prospect they're trying to get the link from. So therefore, comes across as begging. Whenever you ask for something without letting the other person know what's in it for them, if you don't have a relationship with that person, it's going to come across as begging. It's just the way it is. All right. If you failed at SEO and your campaign in the past didn't go the way you wanted, rather, it's because of faulty tactics, bad content, or bad link outreach. Those are the three main reasons. Now, tactics come and go. They change all the time. This system that I'm going to break down for you will work regardless of what the algorithm is doing on Google, because it'll make money for your business just by scoring the link. You don't need the search engine traffic to make this system work. It's getting backlinks placed by the biggest people in your industry and having them graft you onto their site and linking to your site. You tap into growth that's already in place. Why grow from scratch if you don't have to? It's much easier to network and be grafted in by the bigwigs in your industry. And if you failed in SEO, it's not because, well, you failed. It's because your tactics failed. And that's what this challenge is all about, is reaching down, creating a system that works for you regardless of what the algorithm's doing on Google, and it will generate revenue for your business. All right, that's what doesn't work in SEO. What does it take to succeed in SEO in 2017? Well, two things: great content and a well-oiled link outreach campaign. Those are the two things. And that's what SEO is today. Now, to succeed at SEO today, you need to get good at conducting link outreaches. There's no shortcut around that fact, I said. I wish there was, but there isn't anymore. I've done looking for it. I've looked for years and years. I'd find some trails that would work for a while, and then Google would stop them up. Then the client rankings would dip again, and then I'd have to go find what the new workaround was, and then that would work for a little bit, and then Google would find out it would dip, and I'm constantly chasing after my own tail. Maybe you can relate. But when you create superb content and go after the right prospects, and that means the number one, numero uno authorities in your niche, you're going to get a lot of good out of it. You're going to get a lot of good. And that's why I like this challenge so much. It combines creating great content and having bigger than life link prospects that you go after to earn links from them rather than going after mediocre link prospects. All right, to win big in SEO, you got to have excellent content. I'm going to teach you how to do that. How many times will I say that in this series? I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to teach you how to do that. But to win big in SEO, you need excellent content, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. You also got to have big plans what you're going to do with that content. And that's where the shoot for the moon part of this backlink challenge comes in. When you cite your sites for the moon, the biggest link targets, so in your industry, it's going to force you to create better content. I've already said that. But when you target anything less than the biggest influencers in your industry, you're going to create the exact content you need to meet your objectives. Whether that's for mediocre objectives or shooting for the moon objectives. When you aim low, you miss low. Aim high, you win big. Don't tell anybody, but I failed at more SEO campaigns than probably anybody else in the world because I was using mediocre content instead of excellent content. My price point that I was charging clients at the time when we had thousands and thousands of clients was too low for me to be able to create any type of content for them. It was just a link building service that I was offering, and it worked great. But there's no way I could create content for them, let alone superb content. I failed at a lot of campaigns because I was building links instead of great content. When you build links, you build mediocre content. That's just the way it is. When you earn links, you build superb content. All right, you may be in that boat yourself right now trying to figure out how to get your SEO campaign going. Maybe you're trying to build links to a site right now and it's just not working for you. But if you complete this challenge, that's all going to change. It changed for me. And if I can change my spot, so can you. One time I was running probably close to 8,000 to 10,000 customers and campaigns for those customers. I loved Black Hat because it was a lot more affordable than White Hat. But Black Hat's gone. That's just temporary gain. Any client that wants to hire me for temporary gain, that's not going to build into a long-term relationship for me. I'm not a beggar. I don't want short-term money. That's why I like the clients I have right now. And I'm not willing to take any more on. I love my clients. I don't plan on ever letting them go. But I failed at a lot of campaigns back in the Black Hat days. So if I could change my spots, you can. All right, let's go a bit further. Let me ask you a question. This is an important question. How you answer it's going to tell me quite a bit, as well as yourself, why you've been successful up to this point in SEO or why you haven't been successful. Here's a question. Is the content that you have up on your site right now worthy of receiving a link from anyone big that's in your industry? You might have a lot of content on your site, and it might read well. It might be well optimized for the search engines, but that doesn't mean influencers are going to link to it. And that's what makes this challenge so compelling. It forces you to get your stuff together right out of the gate. And by stuff, you know what I mean, the other S word. By aiming big, you win big. How? You're going to reach out to the largest authorities in your niche and ask them to link to your content. That's big. Most people don't do that. Your competition's not doing that. They won't be able to recreate what you do in this campaign, in this challenge. They won't be able to do that. They won't have the guts to do it. They won't know how to do it either. And that's big. But before you're going to do that, you're going to have to create kick butt content. Otherwise, you're going to end up embarrassing yourself, and that'd be bad. Maybe real bad. You might even risk tarnishing your name with the big wigs in your industry for a long time. If not forever even. Reaching out to ask an influencer for a backlink when your content and site isn't ready for that is bad business. It'll hurt your business. So before doing that, you need to create great content. What's great content? Well, you're going to have to figure that out for your industry. And that's where research comes in. And guess what? And I'm going to teach you how to do that too. You have 3 choices if you discover your content isn't kicking butt collecting links. One is you could do nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Who cares, right? If you got enough clientele and you don't need the organic traffic and you're not trying to build extra revenue out of your site, well, this challenge isn't for you anyway. Or you could give up on creating exceptional content and say, well, I'll never be able to do that. It's too hard. Link outreaches, nobody ever responds back to me. Why am I going to do that? I'm going to quit. And then you start doing something else instead. And what's that? Building meaningless I'll say manure links instead of creating the content and doing link outreaches. We'll keep this family friendly. Bull manure links. You know what I'm talking about. That's the death knell of any SEO campaign. If you ever hit that fork in the road and ended up taking the easier, smelly, less productive path, I know how you feel. I've gotten bull manure on my britches more times than I care to admit because that's what I was. I was a black hat backlink builder, and that's bull manure. So I know what it's like. I pitched a lot of it. If you ever hit that road and taken that road, you know what? You already know it doesn't work. Do you know that when you build meaningless links to your site or when you buy links, instead of learning how to create great content, they're like flowers you're putting on your dead SEO campaign's casket. Do you know how many dead SEO campaigns there are? Probably millions. And every one of them has caskets adorned with bought paid links and meaningless links that were built by the webmaster. And by meaningless links, I mean, like, what is there, like 500-600, maybe more than that, social media sites in the world? You can theoretically get in a free account with every one of them and have a backlink to your site on every one of them. And that'd take a lot of time, and that'd give you a lot of links, but it's not going to do anything for you. Google knows what you're doing. And plus, those links aren't going to generate referral traffic to your site from those sites anyway. You want links it's going to generate referral traffic from the site that's linking to you. That's your first target, which should be at least, that you should be targeting for your traffic. All right, so you can give up, you can do nothing, or you could research what great content is and start tweaking your own content until it does start kicking butt and collecting links. Guess that's the most profitable choice. And that's one of the first things we'll get into in this series once I get through this introduction. I want to say that this series each of the videos should be less than 30 minutes, a little less. This one's going to go longer just because of the introduction. Once I get to the tactics, everything will clip along real quick. All right. If you ever, like I said, hit the fork in the road and take the bad way and not did what's right and did the research, don't kill yourself over it. Just learn like I did, learn how to do it right, and then start doing right, and then you'll start seeing good things coming from your efforts. My challenge involves a double dog dare. If you don't want to get double dog dared in the next 10 seconds, I would leave this video right now and close out and go watch something else because you're about to get double dog dared. All right, I warned you. You ready? I double dog dare you to start shooting for the moon with the content you create and with your link outreach efforts. That's all. You're going to need to differentiate yourself from all your competition. Shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon with everything you do, with the content you create. Shoot for the moon with the people you reach out to get links from. It's going to require a lot of extra effort on your part. I'm not going to sugarcoat that fact. There's no push-button strategies to building yourself up as an authority in your niche. That doesn't happen overnight. It's not like Marty the Martian and his Martian pills. He would drop those little pills and add water, and there'd be some weird-looking Warner Brothers Martian just appear out of nowhere. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. There's no easy buttons. But you know what? There's a hard button, and this system that I'm going to break down for you isn't a hard button. A hard button is doing the wrong tactics. The hard button is buying links. The hard button is building meaningless links. The hard button is not doing anything because it's not going to get any results for you and you're not going to get any momentum. But when you take the time to create the content that you're going to need to be able to score links from the largest authority in your industry, guess what? That is going to pay dividends for you. And then it'll get a lot easier in your business to get additional links is because you'll have some momentum working on your side. But any of those other tactics, it'll just never establish momentum. And then it's all effort done on your own. And then it's effort that doesn't even pay dividends because they don't work. All right. John F. Kennedy. He wasn't a shirker either. He wasn't afraid to go big with his goals. And he set some pretty big goals for himself. Early in his administration, he got in his mind to go to the moon. Go to the moon. He wanted to set a man on the moon and come back again. Has anybody ever had that goal before JFK and then had plans to make it happen? I don't think so. I didn't hear any other presidents talking about it before him or hear speeches about it. You know, the fact that he became president shows a lot about who he was, but this country's had a lot of presidents, good and bad. They all had big goals for themselves, and that's commendable. But Kennedy had a big goal for the country, and that was to get to the moon and back. Now listen to a short clip of a speech he made 6 years before Neil Armstrong took his critical one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind onto the moon. Ask yourself if JFK sounds like a man determined to achieve mediocrity or something much more than that. And judge for yourself. Here it is.
To go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
Now, was that a speech? Was that a speech? It served to galvanize the nation to come together to get to the moon, and got to the moon and back they did. So I would say the speech was quite successful in accomplishing what he wanted it to accomplish. Now, what if you take that same mindset JFK had there and take it into your link building? What kind of impact would that have on your SEO efforts? Would it be something that would give you a huge impact or maybe negligible? I'm thinking it would be huge. Big time even. Man didn't walk on the moon by accident. It took a huge dream and a lot of effort to get us there and back. The same will be true of your pursuit of the best backlink opportunities your industry has to offer. You're wondering whether or not you can pull any of this off? Well, that's a valid thought if that crossed your mind. But you know what? There were naysayers back in John F. Kennedy's day, too. I bet you a lot of them thought it was impossible to get to the moon and back, that it was just going to be a waste of money to put it into the project. And you know what? JFK ignored them. They were wrong. He ignored them, and we got to the moon and back. Now, if you're getting that thought in your mind, well, I'm not going to be able to pull this off. I'm not going to be able to create the content I need. I'm not going to be able to do any of this that Matt's going over. And then he's saying, you know what? I just don't know if I can do this. If that's what you're thinking right now, I'd like you to put a pin in that thought. Listen, if this system isn't for you, it isn't for you, but I'd like you to hear me out on it and let me show you how to do it. Because if you allow me to do that, it may be a lot easier than you think. And I'm telling you, it is a lot easier than you're thinking, if that's what you're thinking. All right. There were naysayers back in JFK's day. He ignored them. That's what you have to do with any negative thoughts that come in your mind and tells you, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this. Just ignore them. Shut it out. Just shut it out and aim for the moon, baby. All right. I can hear you thinking this, so let's get it out in the open. Sure, you're thinking, shoot for the moon with my backlinks. Shoot for the moon with the content I create. Be persistent in my link outreaches and everything's going to be just fine. But Matt, why should I listen to you about SEO when there's so many other SEO trainers I could be listening to? You know, I get that question. The answer, why should you listen to me? Well, maybe you shouldn't. I've made a lot of mistakes in SEO. Let me explain. At one time, I was responsible for ranking well over 5,000 of our clients' site on the page 1 of Google for their chosen keywords. As a result, those clients made millions and millions of dollars from the rankings. I've been to the moon and back as far as SEO goes, and I have the battle scars to prove it. But a lot of those rankings came before 2012. I grabbed them by fooling Google into believing my clients' websites had better content, more fans than they really did. I used those tactics because they worked. It was black hat, and I didn't care either. The fact it generated revenue for my clients is all that concerned me. In 2012, I changed my mind forever about black hat tactics, though. It was a tough transition to make, moving from black hat to white hat tactics, but it was so worth it. What happened to change my way of thinking? Google came out with their penguin algorithm in April 2012, and that started penalizing the exact tactics that we were using for our clients. The result? Thousands of our clients lost the revenue their site was generating for their business overnight. And I lost 95% of the income our agency was bringing in. Not overnight, but it was over a 2-month period. And I lost my membership at the country club. All that hurt me tremendously. Well, let me give you a quick caveat on the country club before you think I'm some pompous rich guy. When I was 12 years old, my dad gave me the suggestion to get out of the house and go down to the local country club and start caddying there to make some extra money. He thought it'd be a good experience for me. And it turned out, if it was, but in a different way than he was hoping. I wanted more out of life than to be a manual laborer. And I noticed that when I was 12 years old. I saw the people coming in with money and getting out of their cars and just the lifestyle they were living, and I wanted that. And it took me 30 years rather, to get it. And it had been my dream. And I remember my first day coming home from the country club and telling my dad, listen, Dad, one day I'm going to be a member at this club, and you will be too. And he kind of shrugged it off, and that was that. Well, 30 years later, I was in a position to be able to not only get a membership for myself, but also buy a membership for my dad. So the moment we walked onto that first tee to tee off as members of the club was a fruition of a dream I had from the age of 12. Now, that was great stuff. We had great service there. It was Mr. LeClaire this, Mr. LeClaire that, and that was something we weren't used to. We were used to playing the city courses. I remember one time I was teeing the ball off, and I hit a car that was leaving the club, and it turned out to be the head chef, and I rode my cart over to apologize, and he jumped out, and I thought he was going to give me a tongue lashing for hitting his really nice car. And you know what? He jumped out to apologize for hitting my ball with his car. True story. That's how great the service was. And you know what? As much as I missed the first-class treatment my dad and I received at the country club, it was 100 times worse seeing my clients suffer because of their lost rankings. Yeah, our business suffered rank losses, and we lost a lot of our income. But a lot of our clients had hope for the first time in their businesses. We were able to get them page 1 rankings on Google. That felt good, getting them the rankings and giving people hope. If you've ever helped a lot of people and gave them hope, that's a good feeling. It's an awesome feeling. As a result, our clients started earning the type of money they always wanted to get from their business. But all that was just erased overnight by the algorithm change. Why? Because I used black hat tactics instead of white hat tactics. And the system, well, I didn't know the system that I'm teaching you in this challenge, so I couldn't use it. You don't know what you don't know. And I used black hat tactics, and it worked great. Anybody told me not to do it, I said, listen, my clients are getting results, and that's all that matters. But I had to learn the hard way. So if you're looking for an SEO trainer, I wouldn't even call myself an SEO trainer. I'm just a guy running a small agency that knows how to rank sites and willing to share the information that I know with you so you can rank sites too. But if you're looking for somebody that's never made mistakes, I'm not that guy. I'm just not. But then why did I create this series for you if I'm telling you I may not be the guy you want to listen to about SEO? We do great work for our clients. We're a small agency, and we have zero room for new clients. So I didn't put this course together hoping that it would lead you to hire us to run your SEO campaign. We're busy enough as it is. I don't want my life to get any more hectic than it is. I'm happy with the lifestyle I have right now. I really am. And I'm not going to kill myself in the pursuit of riches. Usually all that does is get you more stressed out and gives you a much higher tax bill. So I love my lifestyle right now. I don't want 1 million clients. I don't want any more clients than what we have. But switching our focus from the black hat tactics to white hat, it took a long time to figure out. It was like I didn't quit all at once. It was one tactic at a time. I just kept dropping and replacing it with a white hat tactic that I didn't realize was a white hat tactic. It was just a tactic I tried and it would work. So I kept doing it. But after a bit, all of our black hat tactics have been replaced by white hat tactics. And then we were much more effective at generating rankings for our clients again. And that's what will happen too for you if you're using black hat tactics. If you switch over to white hat tactics using the tactics that I teach you in this series, it's going to help your business as well too. So that's why you might want to listen to me when it comes to SEO and why you might not. Choice is yours. Let's get into the premise of this challenge again. I said this before, but most SEO campaigns fail because of inferior content or inferior link outreaches. That's a cold hard truth. If your rankings stink, it's because your content's inferior. If your rankings are bad, it's almost always the fault of your content. Anyone who tries to tell you different is wrong. They're trying to sell you something. What's inferior content, though? In an SEO sense, it's content that is never going to be linked to by anyone prominent in your industry or any other industry for that matter. So you need to create content that works to establish yourself as an authority. That's the only way to win big in this challenge. When you take the time to implement the steps that you learn in this challenge, you're going to be setting yourself up to be an authority in your industry. The main authorities who are already in your industry will then accept you as an authority as well, and they will link to you. Some will, hopefully most will, if not all. But that's how you win in this challenge. Mediocre content and average backlinks, that only establishes your site as in your business as being mediocre, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Now, with this in mind, are you going to take me up on my double dog dare to shoot for the moon with this challenge? I hope so, because I'm ready to get rocking in it with you. This introduction went on way too long. I'm sorry about that. But before you can get started grabbing backlinks from the very best link opportunities, you're going to have to first find those opportunities. So let's get this bad boy rolling and get into task number 1 of the Shoot for the Moon Backlink Challenge. Task number 1, declare who your number 1 link prospect is going to be. Do me a favor and go grab a legal pad or a notebook. You'll want more than a piece of paper. You'll need several pages. That's why I recommend a legal pad. I want you to have that legal pad. I want you to write down the name of the biggest person in your industry. So if you're in SEO, that person would be somebody like Eric Ward or Garrett French or Rand Fishkin. If you're in the personal development niche, Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss. If you're in the health industry, well, you're looking at Dr. Oz, Dr. McCullough maybe. What about Dr. Drew or Dr. Phil? Whoever the biggest person in your industry is, let's call him or her your golden prospect. Now, when you get your link from them, you're going to be able to do backflips. I'm telling you, right when you find out that you scored the link, you're going to do backflips, even if you've never done a backflip in your life. That's how awesome it is to score these links. And you put a lot of effort into creating the content to make it happen. And then when it does, and you get the link, it's just an awesome feeling. But there's things you can expect to get when you do get a link from your golden prospect. You're going to get traffic from their site. Of course, their readers are going to see their link and come over to your site. That's a good thing. You're going to get improved search engine rankings because Google's going to love seeing that link from the largest authority in your industry linking over to your site. That's just going to be a premium link that your competition's not going to be able to come close to unless they're also watching this video series too, then, well, they know how to do it already. All right, so the largest in your authority in your niche, getting a link from them is important, but introducing yourself to them and building a relationship up with them is even more important. And that's a lot what this challenge is all about, is not only helping you get links from influential people. That's important. I understand that. And that's why I'm going to help you do that. But also to build relationships up with those influential people. That way you just keep getting more and more links. That's called momentum. And momentum is your best friend in SEO and marketing. So this one backlink you're going to score right at the beginning of the challenge, it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving, and giving to your business. All right, I want you to imagine two vendors. They have identical products, identical pricing, and they have the same web designs. They even have the same colors. Now, the only difference between the two of them, let's say, is the fact that one has a link from a golden prospect in their industry and the other doesn't. Who's going to win that revenue fight? If I were a betting man, and I'm not, but if I were, I would say that it would be the vendor with the great link. Not only is that person going to receive more web traffic, but his conversions are going to be higher too, because he took the time to rock out his content to earn that backlink. So he'll get more traffic, he'll get more conversions than the other guy, and that's why I think he'd win that revenue fight. Now, that's why it's important for you to earn links from the main authorities in your industry too. So go ahead, jot down the numero uno person rocking your industry right now. This challenge is about starting your link campaign big. So swing hard for the fences. You want maximum results for the maximum effort you're about to expend. That's only going to come from targeting the biggest names in your industry as your link prospects. There's no better way to start this challenge by starting out targeting the very biggest link authority in your industry. Now, one of the cool things about this challenge is the fact that I'm not going to just teach you how to implement this system. I'm going to work right alongside you. And you could watch me as I use this system to build links to this blog you're on right now at Your SEO Squad. It's a new blog. I haven't done much with it. In fact, I haven't done anything with it except until I think I put the first content on it in December of 2016. So it's as far as sites go, it's a baby. See, I'm not real anxious to alert my clients' competitors of all the tactics we're using against them, and it's not fair to my clients to share who they are and the tactics we're using for them. So I'm going to focus my efforts on this challenge and just attracting backlinks to my site here at Your SEO Squad. All right, now, who did I choose to be my first link prospect, my golden prospect? Eric Ward. Eric Ward is a master link builder. If you've been in SEO for any length of time, you know who he is. I mean, he is just an awesome link builder. I look up to him in a lot of ways. I've studied his books and his videos, and I'm a member of his Link Moses newsletter now. So I rely on Eric Ward a lot in the industry. So does a lot of other people. So getting a link, Eric's site, to my site is going to be huge. And as I walk you through this challenge, I'm going to be doing the same tasks. You could watch what I'm doing as I'm teaching you, and I'll do the same thing. You can see what I do to go about landing a link from Eric Ward. Well, I have a lot of respect for Eric. I mean, a lot. My reaching out to him is going to be cold. Well, let me put it this way. My first contact with him will be cold. But by the time I ask him for a link to this site that you're on now, he's going to know me quite well. I'll show you how to reach out to your prospect too and build a working relationship with them before you ever ask them for anything. I want to just mention just for a second that there's some criteria and what you should be looking for in your golden prospect. They should be an active authority in your niche. Otherwise, your link's not going to do you any good. They need to have a current blog. Otherwise, where are they going to link to you from? And that current blog should have healthy site metrics like healthy trust flow and domain authority. And they need to be targeting the same buyer audience that you're targeting on your site. Why? Otherwise, when somebody clicks the link on their site and hits your page, well, the traffic's not going to be that targeted, and it's not going to do anything for your business. So if the person you're thinking of doesn't fit those three criteria, choose somebody else that does meet them. Otherwise, this system won't work for you. Now, in the case of my golden prospect, I'll tell you a little more about him, Eric Ward. He's still an active authority in link building, so he passed the first criteria. He has a blog that he keeps semi-updated. I think his last post was a month and a half ago. And you can check his site out at ericward.com. And his site has a high trust flow. Given the fact that his readers are link builders, it fits the third criteria too, of he's targeting the same buyer audience that I am. So I think I'm ready to go as Eric with my prospect. He passes all three criteria, so I wrote his name down on my legal pad. At this point, you should have a legal pad in front of you with the name of your golden prospect on it. Easy stuff so far. All right, task number 2, finding your golden prospect's main keywords. Go ahead and write down the website address of your golden prospect underneath their name on your legal pad. After that, go visit their site on your computer and then pull up the source code. The keywords they optimize their homepage meta title and description will often be their top keywords. Those are the keywords you want to grab. What you're going to do is use those keywords to grab a few more keyword ideas and then find some other link prospects to target a bit later on in this challenge. This challenge is about landing more than just a single backlink. I'm going to help you get a lot of them from influencers in your industry. If you're unfamiliar with the code is, it's for the meta title, it's towards the top of the page. And when I went to Eric's source code, I found that he was optimizing his meta title and description for two main keywords. One is link development strategy, and the other is sustainable linking strategies. Now, I found those. So now that you have those keywords, what you do is write those keywords down on your legal pad, and then take them to Google to find other related keywords to them. Now, once you have those keywords, just take the keywords you wrote down, Google them one at a time to find other related keywords. Write those other related keywords down too on your legal pad. And to find the related keywords, what you do is you take the keyword to Google, scroll down to the bottom of their search results page to find the other keywords that Google suggests for that term. Write all the pertinent ones down on your legal pad, and we'll use those in a little bit too. All right, next task. Find a few other excellent prospects to target later on in the challenge. While we're doing this initial research, we might as well get some other research out of the way. The number one link prospect that you're going after in your industry, that's called your golden prospect. Yeah, all the other big influencers in your industry, we'll call those silver prospects. Now, I don't really have any criteria for silver prospects other than what I gave you for the golden prospect, is the fact that they need to be active in your niche. They need to target the same buyer audience, and they need to be active on their blog. That's that. That's pretty easy to find those prospects. Just go back to Google with all the keywords that you wrote down on your legal pad, and then find 3 to 5 to 6 people ranking for each of those keywords, and write those down on your legal pad too. Those will probably end up being your silver prospects, and getting links from them will be huge as well. Now, when you get to this point, this is what my legal pad looks like. Yours will look a little different. And I'm looking here on mine. Like Moz.com, that's not going to be a very good opportunity for me. And Search Engine Land's not going to be. They have a lot of columnists there. And so getting a link from them may not be as hard. But I'm looking for more authoritative people in the industry. Instead of getting a link from Moz.com, I would rather have the link from Rand Fishkin. So look for other names that are big in your industry as you're looking for your silver prospects. And you can keep your eye on other people that meet your criteria and that you want to target later, and then come back and write it here in your legal pad. That way you can go after them later. So now you have the name of your golden prospect written down. You have the name of some potential silver prospects written down. You have the website address written down for your golden prospect. And you also have the keywords they're optimizing their homepage for, and also the keywords that Google thinks are related to their keywords. Because that's where you are right now. Now, once you get to this point, you got to do a little more research. You take down a little more information that you'll use later in the challenge. And in this step, you're going to act more like a private investigator than a content creator or an SEO person. All right, doing more research on your golden prospect. On a clean sheet on your legal pad, write down your golden prospect's Facebook URL, their LinkedIn URL, and their Twitter URL. Then, write down their last 12 websites that they linked to from their blog. This is a crucial step. We're going to dig much deeper into those websites a bit later in the challenge. All right, now after I did that, this is what my second sheet on my legal pad looks like. Once you have all this information collected, go on and do the same thing for your silver prospects. You're going to need to put them on separate pages on your legal pad, otherwise it's going to get messy fast. And why a legal pad? Because legal pads are an object. They're not some file on your computer. You could set them on your desk. You can grab them anytime you want and add something to it. It's harder to do that on a notepad or on a file on your computer. That's why I use a legal pad. I love legal pads. Every time I get a fresh legal pad, I know it's going to make me money. I just know it. So I like writing down everything I do on paper as opposed to putting it somewhere on my computer. I'll do that a little later as we get further into the challenge. So by now you're really starting to fill up a legal pad with notes for your awesome link building campaign you're starting to launch as you work through this challenge. Task number 5. This is where you're going to play the role of an online stalker, but in a cool, non-creepy sort of way. What you're going to do is visit each of the authorities you listed on your legal pad and then follow them all on Twitter. So all of your silver prospects you found, follow them on Twitter. Also, your golden prospect, follow that person on Twitter as well. And once you follow them, there's a couple other things you need to do, and they're pretty important. First, create a public list and add each of your prospects to it. Don't name the list something obvious like my link prospecting targets. Instead, name it something that's going to acknowledge their authority in your industry. Something like my favorite financial bloggers would work great. This is going to double your initial exposure with the authority because they're going to get 2 notifications. So this will be your very first exposure to this authority. And the first is going to be when you send them the follow request. The second is going to be when you add them to your public list. They'll get 2 notifications. I call it the initial double tap exposure. There's nothing creepy about it. Just a second reinforcement exposure. Tap, tap. You know, it gets people's attention. This is all about getting attention in a good way. Now, once you've done that, go over to TweetDeck. And what you do is set up TweetDeck to display the tweets of the prospects you just added to your Twitter public list. Now, adding them to the list is going to make it easier for you to keep track of all their tweets using TweetDeck. This is going to filter out the rest of Twitter while you get to know who the silver prospects and the golden prospect in your industry. Your goal is to get a good feel for the type of sites that they link to on a regular basis. Every time they share a link to a site that isn't their own, they're demonstrating what type of content they like. So learn, mimic, and improve on that content. Once you have that set up, go grab your reading glasses if you wear them. Because if you do wear reading glasses, you're going to need them. Go and read every single post on your Golden Prospects blog. This step's going to involve a couple hours worth of reading. Now, skipping this step could end up killing your chances in this challenge. So don't skip it. Most SEO amateurs skip reading the blog posts of the bloggers they want to link from because they feel it'll take up too much of their time. It's a sentiment I held myself for years, and it was stupid for me to do that. I didn't want to read anyone else's content. I just wanted to create my own, and that was a big mistake. Today, though, it's one of my favorite ways of spending my free time in the evening. I love reading the blog posts of my link prospects. It's a great way to get educated. I had a pastor in the 90s at a church in Lansing, Michigan, and the name of the church was Mount Hope Church. It had 4,000 or 5,000 members. It was just a very large church. Pastor Dave Williams. I remember something he said. He goes, you know, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And I didn't pay much attention to what he said at the time, but as the older I get, I really get that if you want to be taken seriously by the people in your industry, you need to become a reader if you aren't already. I know it sounds stupid simple, but if you're not reading the posts of your link prospects, you're not going to win an SEO. So a lot of amateurs skip it. They think it takes up too much of their time. It's a sentiment, like I said, I held myself. Now, doing these, and after a while, and depending on how many blog posts they have, it might take you a couple hours. It might take you a couple days. It might take you 5 days. It might take you 5 weeks. But I want to give you a warning. If you're not willing to devote a couple hours a day to reading good blog posts and watching the training videos on your Golden Prospects blog, this system's not going to work for you. To be the best in your industry, you have to first learn from the best. Does that make sense? Let me repeat it. To be the best in your industry, you have to first learn from the best. Spending time on Netflix isn't going to help your business. Neither is watching silly pet videos on YouTube. As cool as those things are, sometimes, they're not going to cut the mustard as far as helping your SEO campaign. Instead, if you start reading the blog post of your link prospects, that's going to pay huge dividends for the time you invest in it. So do it. Remember, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. All right, the final task of this first lesson. Read every post your Golden Prospect has linked to from their blog in the last 24 months. As smart as it is to read your link prospects blog posts, reading the posts they link to is smart too. The idea here is to learn what kind of content your Golden Prospect Awards links to. Why? So you can create better versions of that same content. It's a process that isn't all that hard once you know how to do it. Creating better content than what your Golden Prospect is already linking to is going to be your goal that we're going to achieve, and I'm going to achieve in my own challenge later on in this series. There's no better way to get that vibe for what they link to by studying the actual posts they link to. Now, how much time should you spend on this research phase? Well, that's an easy question for me to answer. You should never stop reading the posts your authorities in your niche link to. Once you get caught up on all their posts, it takes a lot less time to stay current. So that's the good news. You're going to have to get caught up on a lot of reading, like when you miss a couple weeks of school with the flu, and you come back from school and you got a lot of reading to do. And when you read these posts, maybe you shouldn't be down in the living room with the kids or in the car while somebody else is talking. Maybe you should treat it like it's a lesson that you need to learn and it's a teacher teaches you something. That way you can take in everything because you're going to have to get a good feel for this content that they're linking to. Now, as far as this challenge goes, you should spend as much time as you need to read through all the posts that you need to read, and that's just what needs to happen. All right. The steps I covered in this first lesson of this challenge taught you the importance of swinging for the fences with your link building and content creation. I went over why reading the blog posts of your link prospects is something you should be doing all the time and why you should be doing it. And I also shared that there's no quick way around this stage. Well, let me take that back. If the content you're consuming on your prospects blog is in a video, you can theoretically speed it up to double the playback speed. That way you get through the blogs twice as fast. But if you go anything over twice as fast, 2.0, it gets really hard to understand. And the max I can handle is 2.0. I wish I could do 3.0, but it just gets to be gibberish. So there's no shortcuts to the research you need to do. Luckily, you don't need to go out and buy a bunch of textbooks, and you're just going to go and find the blogs that your Golden Prospect has written. You're going to read them all, the posts, and then you're going to read all the posts they've linked to in the last 24 months. Cool? All right, cool. All right, in the part 2 of this challenge, and in the very next video, I'm going to show you some more steps on what you need to do in your quest to get the backlink from your Golden Prospect. That's when the fun kicks in. You have homework. Should you decide to take me up on my double dog dare to shoot for the moon with your content creation and your link prospecting. All right, homework. Choose your Golden Prospect. Find his or her website and blog. Write down their main keywords they target on their homepage. Read all their blog content and watch all their videos, no matter how long it takes. read the post they link to from their blog, then proceed to the next chapter of this challenge. Of course, if you have any questions regarding this challenge or suggestions or areas you disagree with me on, I want to hear from you. Post them as comments below this video. Thanks.